Ooh, when I'm juggling limes, something's about to go down. Ceviche tonight. It's gonna be pretty interesting. I've never done it before. This is the first time. Let's get to it. Ceviche time. You ready for that? This is gonna be kind of like a fusion setup. Well, not necessarily from any respective country, but it's gonna be good when all said and done. I got some red snapper at its core. Told my girl we should make some ceviche today, and she said yes. Red snapper is so beautiful out of these Florida waters. I decided to make my ceviche with this. You're gonna cut it up into cubes, not too big, not too small. I know that's a weird measurement to tell you, but check it out how I do it. You don't want it too big because the lime juice that we're gonna sit it in for 20 minutes is not gonna penetrate it completely if that's the case. And if that's the case, you have uncooked fish, might not work out the best for you. After you got the red snapper all cut up, go into lime mode. Get a couple limes, bisect them, and juice them. You're gonna need a juicer. I got one of these guys. If you have to, squeeze it with your hands. It's kind of late, but it's not too late to hit you with another pro tip. Grab a lime, start pushing it, and basically loosen it up. You're gonna want to get the flesh separated from the skin, and this ensures that you're gonna get as much juice as you can out of these bad boy limes. Fresh lime juice is key in this equation. Don't try to cut corners and get that little weird fake lime looking thing that's plastic and you figure you could use a couple of those. It's not the same. You gotta go through the labor of love. It's gonna make a world of difference, let me tell you. Whenever you're making a ceviche, there comes a time to cure the protein. What you're doing, adding a little bit of citrus to the protein, letting it sit for about 20 minutes. Get yourself something flat. If it's too round, then all that juice is basically gonna sit on the bottom and it's not evenly gonna distribute throughout all that protein. This is another little tip for you. So I got about a cup of this juice. You're gonna put that right on top of this delicious red snapper. Ooh, so for some reason this is making me salivate. So I just heard my timer go off. Sounds like 20 minutes is done. Let's get this red snapper out of the lime juice. What we're gonna need is we're gonna need some kind of filtration tool. So we're basically gonna filter out the liquid from the solids. The fun thing about ceviche, throw whatever you want in there. Make it creative, make it delicious. I like all fresh ingredients. I like everything to be more or less the same size when I'm throwing it into the mixing bowl. After you separated the snapper from that lime juice, then you can mix it in with all the other delicious goodies that you have. You can start seasoning it with a little bit of that salt, a little pepper, and we'll see how it tastes in the end. And you can do pretty much anything you want. That's the fun thing about ceviche. I like to keep fresh items on deck. So I got some cucumbers over here. I got a little bit of jalapeno, tomato, and onions. Onions always seem to be a part of a proper ceviche setup. If one of those fresh ingredients that you want in your ceviche is tomatoes, you're literally just gonna wanna use the skins. It keeps the ratios just right and doesn't introduce any additional moisture. So make sure that those seeds and the white part in the center are gone. Next step, you're gonna take your red snapper and then you're gonna throw it into your vegetables. So now you have the marriage of protein and all those fun little vegetables that you decided to throw in there. Salt, pepper, keep tasting, understand exactly where you're at. But this leche de tigre is what's gonna mix that in and just create that binding agent that you're looking for with this delicious ceviche. And just slowly add that leche de tigre. Leche de tigre, a couple fun facts for you. Parents, put your kids in the other room for a second. Now in Peru, it's actually an aphrodisiac. It's something to get the guys revved up before they go home in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying. But leche de tigre, people have different interpretations of it. Some might say it's whatever's left over from the ceviche. Some actually take their time to prepare something a little bit separate, where there is a fish product, usually a fish stock, ginger in some cases, spicy pepper, and the list goes on and on and on. Sometimes they even add pisco. I think I'd want to try that. To make this super pretty, I threw some of that choclo on top. Also a chip, just for a nice three-dimensional depth, and that purple looks great on anything that's kind of not purple. And I also threw a half lime on there. The whole dish looks great. You could present it just like that, and each individual person gets their share. I mean, we gotta sample it now, right? I didn't spend all this time making ceviche to not eat it. Let's eat some. And on the bottom, you have a good amount of that Leche Tigre. It's a nice citrus boost. So you're gonna wanna dig in there and get a little bit of that on your spoon with every respective bite. A little corn, a little bit of ceviche. Oh man. It's all lean protein, locally sourced stuff. Probably not the choclo, but everything else. The citrus is just enough. I think a lot of the artistry in this is gonna come in the balancing act when you start to add the salt. Do it slowly, mix everything together, and just make sure that it hits exactly where you want, because you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to get to this point and be like, oh man, I can't go back now. A little cuts of cucumber, they add a nice little crunch level to them. Additional layer of freshness. The tomatoes, they're there more for color. They still exist pretty well. I think in hindsight, I might have used a traditional sized tomato instead of the cherry ones. But the choclo adds a little subtle sweetness to it and a little hint of the Peruvian roots. Literally hit like 90+ degrees today. Very few things do I want to eat more on a piping hot day than a nice, refreshing bowl of ceviche. So in the mood for it, made it happen. I'm glad I did. This quarantine thing might start to happen all over the country again. Thanks so much for taking the time to tune in, watch the video. Stay safe out there. You keep watching, because I'm gonna keep hunting. I'll see you soon, all right?